It's great to see you all. I'm Scott Robohn. I'm with Solutional, a consulting firm that's been collaborating with Futurum and Nokia on some really interesting third-party validation that we're going to talk about for a bit here. So I think I'm the last up, correct, Andy? So I get to go as long as I want to until you all get up and walk out on me, which won't be the first time. I want to bring a very operational feet on the street view of what we see with the emphasis on data center networking and that push towards operations as being where it's at, to quote a good friend of mine who was mentioned earlier on a podcast last year. We really think there's room for focusing on operations to get that next level of performance out of data center infrastructure. That's kind of my perspective. Quick background on me. I've been an internet plumber. I spent a long time on the vendor side, and now I'm a recovering SE leader, I guess, running my own consulting business. Had the privilege of being on your side of the table as a tech field day delegate, and this is a little different gig for me today, so it's really fun to be here. This work is done in collaboration, obviously, with Nokia, but also the Futurum Group. And hat tip to Mitch. Ashley?
Sure.
Mitch and I have been collaborating along with many other people on the Nokia side, on the Futurum side, on the Solutional side to pull this analysis together. So if you want to jump in and say anything as we go, you should feel free to do that.
Okay.
But the Futurum Group is huge in industry analysis across all IT disciplines. Mitch is one of many who are out there watching what's happening in the IT environment, and they bring very sharp analysis, report generation, and amplification to things that are happening again across different IT silos. Solutional is a very small consultancy that exists to help customers rationalize adoption of AI in operations. So NetOps is one of our key focus areas, but we are looking at adoption of AI across many different IT disciplines as well. So together, we have this very synergistic view of what's happening. One of the things I get to do is talk to a lot of operators, and I'll expand on some of that as we go. Part of what I do is a podcast called Total Network Operations. I'm not much of a marketer. The title of the show is pretty obvious. And thanks to Ethan and Packet Pushers, after irritating Ethan for a long time, we finally got it off the ground. So we're having a lot of fun with that.
You were very persistent.
What? Thank you. Thank you for stating that so nicely. Okay, so the outsider perspective here. Just to set the stage for the conversation, this is all under the assumption that AI is a durable technology. I hope nobody needs to be convinced of that at this point, right? Are we early in the game and its development and application? Absolutely, right? But you see the investment, it's real. I'm not here to debate, the B word, bubble, but we've seen this movie before. And we have seen periods of extreme investment, and we've seen overbuild of capacity, and that capacity get absorbed eventually, right? So that's a scenario that we could see here. But we do see the continued push for the development of training facilities for models, driving fabric build out, and driving innovation in fabric networking technologies, right? Inference is not just here, it's going to keep going up and to the right, and that's going to dominate our decisions as we go. I mean, think about it. How many real AI users are there today versus how many there will be next year, and the next year, and the next year? So we'll see inference and infrastructure for inference play more and more of a role as we go here. But this is all building a foundation for what's to come. And there are applications and problem sets that we don't even know yet that are going to be addressed by AI technologies, right? It's going to be, what's the killer app for the internet, right, from 30 years ago? Was it video? I don't know. We can debate that over a happy hour later. But we're going to be discovering what's useful here in AI for some time to come. It's obviously driving network infrastructure for AI. We see this concentrated in some key places. Obviously the hyperscalers have engaged and are building out their own infrastructure. The foundation model companies, have some of their own infrastructure, or they're renting it from hyperscalers. And now we have this new class of providers called the Neocloud providers. And the emergence of Neocloud has been fascinating to me. And I think it builds on two really important things that you all around this table have helped build over the last 30 years. We had the internet build out, which provided all the connectivity that we needed. That allowed the emergence of cloud, which brought us aggregation of resources and new business models that both feed into what's happening with Neocloud now. So if you think about it, it's kind of no surprise. Denise.
Hi, Denise Donahue. Could you please explain Neocloud? Someone was using that term before too, and we were just kind of discussing. So what's a Neocloud?
Cloud providers focused on GPU interconnect for GPU workloads. I didn't just say AI workloads. Model training is one special application that works really well on GPUs, but video rendering and computer graphics, right? That's where GPUs came from. Mm-hmm. And Hollywood and the special effects industry are an important source of business for these aggregations of clusters. I used to have two other really good application ideas, but does that make sense?
Crypto mining.
Yes, that was one of them, and that's also still real, and people are willing to pay for those services.
But okay, that makes sense.
So that's what they are. Let me say a little more about the why. So GPUs are really expensive, and we see an increasing number of specialized technologies in terms of cooling, delivering power, getting energy to the facility, and distributing the power within a facility and getting energy wholesale to a building. Those are actually two different things.
Yeah.
All these things come together that create special engineers and operators that your average enterprises really can't afford to hire and maintain. So just like we had the cloud emerge, and now everybody, with a credit card could have their own IT department, mm-hmm. right? Now anybody with a credit card, or maybe a larger PO amount, can rent time in a Neocloud or get a dedicated section that they don't have to maintain.
Got it. Thank you.
Great question.
There you go. Much better than my explanation.
It was better than his
explanation. Better than my explanation.
Well, I doubt that, but
no.
I don't want to leave out select enterprises. Right? There are enterprises that are going to grow, build their own model training infrastructure. They're going to have special security and privacy requirements, and they're going to have funding to be able to do this. But I think you're going to see more and more model building done in Neocloud type environments. So that's all on the network infrastructure side. Then there's the use of AI tooling for network operations. And that's really where the focus has been on EDA today, right? The tooling that's embedded here. So that's really going to be the focus of the rest of the discussion today. You'll see in this survey we're going to reference here that network reliability for data centers is really the #1 buying concern of anybody investing in new data center infrastructure. I see some heads nodding. Okay, so maybe we're onto something here, right? Other things to set the stage here. Hardware is essentially normalizing. Scott, what do you mean? Great question. I'd love to tell you. It's merchant silicon everywhere, and merchant is often a synonym for Broadcom. Different flavors of Broadcom. There are other merchant providers that are emerging too, or getting more traction, right? But we see different vendors onboarding merchant silicon and using that as the basis for their data center infrastructure, right? Nokia's no exception. Nokia's been doing a great job packaging merchant silicon in the IXR product line for quite some time. So we do see a shift in stabilization of architectures. I'm saying this really carefully. I picked the word stabilization with intent. It's not all the same everywhere. You have spine leaf, which is really common, but sometimes you have super spine. Sometimes you have funky butterfly designs, but there's great modularity in build out of data centers. And that's great for automation. Like one of the problems we have in automating most of the rest of the network is there's too many snowflakes. And that's not a comment on any one of you in this room, right? But special cases that I have to do something with this script to do automation in this piece of the network. The more uniform I can get, the more I can templatize configs, the easier it is to automate in the long term. Agreed? You want to argue with me about that? Okay, later. That's fine. So consistency is good for automation. Lets me have fewer exception cases to deal with, right? I think these all set the stage for operations mattering even more than it has, in our lifetimes, right? And there's an opportunity here for what can I do to make operations better, get rid of the fat finger scenarios, error introduced by us when we've been a little sleepy, like Andy's first slide at the beginning of the talk today. We do bad things when we're just not well rested or we're not paying attention. So here's what Futurum and Solutional have done with Nokia on this front. I know I'm supposed to only have 3 legs of the stool, but I have 4 legs for this stool. I hope you'll forgive me. We'll just make sure we put it on a nice level spot so we can sit on it. We looked at, constructed and executed a reliability survey. The one thing you should take away from that is network reliability is job 1, right? We engaged with Bell Labs on their development of a data center fabric reliability model. And I'm going to wax eloquent on the capabilities of Bell Labs there for a little bit. We spoke with, interviewed, and continue to work with the internal Nokia enterprise IT team that is drinking their own champagne. Can't say eat your own dog food, right? Where they created an RFP, laid out the requirements for what they wanted, migrated from legacy infrastructure and multiple types of legacy infrastructure toward SR Linux with EDA on IXRs. And we'll talk about what they're finding. And then just our general market engagement, what we're having in conversations, across the board through podcasts, through events and things like that. So the reliability survey, have you ever been involved in constructing like an industrial strength survey? It's not easy. It's not trivial. This was my first experience going through that, and 17 revisions of this question, right? And you know what? It's worth it in the long run. And I think the application of heat and pressure can result in a diamond. And I think we have a really good result. Futurum has this motion down. I just got to help with advising on questions, and we found the number 1 result on reliability. When people are making purchasing decisions for data center network infrastructure, the first thing they ask about is
reliability.
And then they ask about
Cost.
Reliability. And then after that, they ask about reliability. Sorry, drama for emphasis here.
And then the manager asks how much it costs.
Then something, but
Thank you.
It's a great point, and I'm going to encourage you to go get the report and look at it. Cost.
I just dumped it into the Slack
Perfect.
channel.
Thank you.
Everybody's got it.
Read my mind. Excellent. Cost was way down in terms of criteria, partly because of the normalization of the hardware. Because those per port costs, they're really competitive across vendors, right? And so how do vendors differentiate, right? And it's not per port cost, at least not yet. So unless you're buying Netgear for your data center, I don't want to make anybody upset at Netgear. I apologize. So human error is still an issue. It still stings, right? We still, in my Total Network Operations podcast, I ask every guest the following closing question. What's the worst outage you've ever caused? And only one guest has said, I've never really caused an outage. And I'm not sure I believe that individual. So, these things are out there. Then there is strong interest in automation and AIOps. Adoption is still lagging interest, of course, right? Because we're early in the game on this. But it's on the top of mind for anybody making these decisions. On that point, so the 36% number, 36% of respondents reported dedicated AIOps tooling or interest in it. So that 36% is not 36% have AIOps in production. It was in production or interest, right? And I'll let you speculate as to what slice, where's the slider bar within that, roughly 1/3. I'm going to guess it's more interest than actually adoption at this point. But I can't say that from the results of the survey. Next, Bell Labs. Were you familiar with Bell Labs before hearing about them today?
Yeah.
Just about everybody? Okay. I had the great privilege about 6 years ago of going to the Bell Labs Murray Hill facility. And in the lobby of Murray Hill are two statues, or busts. One of Thomas Edison and one of Claude Shannon, the father of information theory. And guess who got his picture with each one of them right away? You're standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And we think Ethernet everywhere today, but Claude Shannon is where we get 64 kilobits per second for a raw, uncompressed, digitized voice conversation. Sorry, I won't dive deep on that. The Bell Labs people are steeped in this, and they brought their expertise to looking at reliability for data center fabrics. I won't be able to do it justice here, even if I took 20 more minutes. There's a report, you can go grab it. Mitch, if it's available, the Nokia app note is out on it now, I think just the other day.
Great,
so that can go out there
Post
too.
it up here then.
They did a great job of poking in onto all the different factors involved in, what's going on with hardware, what are different operations tasks, where are the opportunities for improvement there. And basically, one of the major outcomes of their analysis is the most significant reduction in downtimes comes from operations-related issues. Initial config, troubleshooting, and more over the course of time. But the model shows there's a clear way to get from old legacy PMO, present mode of operation fabrics, to over 5 nines with a new FMO that really mimics what's available with SR Linux and EDA. This third leg of the stool may be my favorite. As part of this project, we have had the opportunity to talk to the enterprise IT people at Nokia. Do you have any idea how many employees Nokia has? Over 80,000 worldwide. They make stuff. They have manufacturing operations. They have extranet connections for partners. They have all sorts of different types of office buildings all over the world, right? It's a complex enterprise IT environment, right? So it's a great terrarium of network migration and implementation. I could use a better word than that, but it's a hothouse environment, right, where there's real pressure. Outages that impact manufacturing could cause anywhere from 500K to $1 million per incident, right? And that's just one example of the cost associated with downtime in an enterprise like that. We are in the process of putting out more material on the journey of this team, and it's still ongoing. Like Monday, I got an update from the team that talked about their last phase or their most recent phase of here's what we just cut over. And like they're stoked. They're excited about it. They just want their network to be better. And it's really cool to see them engaged on this. The last thing I'll throw on the table for you is, people like Mitch and myself, making our job to just be out there, right? Talking to people, hearing what they hear. Many of you are in the same situation, right? I am never the smartest guy in the room, but I get to talk to the smartest people in the room. And I love that through, what I've been able to do with Network Automation Forum, what I'm doing in my consulting work, what I'm doing through the podcast, showing up at, ONUG, NANOG, lots of other operator-centric events. We definitely see across the board this increasing appetite for automation and AIOps, right? It's real, it's palpable. Everyone's starting to ask the questions of how, where do I start, right? And we've found a way to help some people along in that from a vendor independent perspective. So what I would recommend to you as next steps, you can engage by taking a look at the reliability study. Mitch has already distributed that. You can also get a hold of the Bell Labs model report, and you can actually work with Nokia folks to tweak the model for your environment. If that's something of interest to you, you can kind of see how it works. They won't hand you a package and leave you, good luck, play with the model yourself. You'll get guidance from them, and I think that's super appropriate. Watch as we put out more material in the next couple months on the enterprise IT migration at Nokia. And you should reach out to the Nokia folks who are here today. Hear what they're saying, test their claims. I think Andy might have some fun things to propose to you later that will help with that. Think about it in your business context, in your environment, and figure out how to go learn more. And of course, Mitch and I are always happy to talk about what Futurum and Solutional are doing together and in our different pieces of the world. And that is 8 seconds over.
It's been a great pleasure working with you on this. Really enjoyed it. Learned a lot from you. So
right back at you. Yeah, and I want to give a hat tip to Kathleen Barron. Kathleen is the master reducer of entropy. She's the project manager, and I don't know how she does it.
She's the locomotive on the train.
Okay, there you go.